What's going on, everyone? It's Semp. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for the 3K views on the T'Challa edit, RIP Chadwick forever, and it's been a minute since I posted, but we're back and we're going to be discussing why Marvel is too big to fail, using some of the Black Widow delays and the start of Phase 4 to back up some of these opinions I have. But before we start, you know the drill. Quick housekeeping. If you like Marvel, the MCU, comics, and everything in between, subscribe to the channel. I'm posting new content weekly again, so click that little red sub button and share the page with a friend. Other than that, let's get into the video. Let's go. Now, I want to start this off by saying I completely understand why some people are against streaming, but let me talk to you about it. Nothing beats a theater experience, right? It really doesn't beat watching a brand new movie, and a blockbuster MCU movie at that. One of the biggest reasons people are against this is because this is the first movie for Black Widow, who was led by Scarlet Johansson for a decade. She and fans of Scarlet and Widow have waited 10 years for this movie, and rightfully so they want to see a proper theatrical release. But we need to consider why streaming can also maybe produce the numbers she deserves, and also how theaters can play into that role as well. Now, the movie is going to be delayed for a full year before it finally comes out on May 7th. Now, I'm not into politics, I'm not here to give you any news, but the virus is still going to be here, unless we have a vaccine, and really not much has changed since it came about. I'm speaking from a US perspective, so we kind of suck, plain and simple, but do you really think that magically by May 7th everything will be back to normal? No way. Now, I did go see Tenet in theaters, had the entire place to myself with a couple friends, and it was great, and that right there is my biggest point. Even with things back under control, even 6 months from now, COVID guidelines, social distancing, that might still all be there. So yes, people might not be afraid of going out by then, but you'll still have limitations that hinder the amount of tickets and shows that you can hold, therefore lowering the gross amount for the film. So the solution is streaming, but there's a way that they can go about it, and let's talk about why. Now first, yes, Mulan was a very stupid movie to use for premiere access. The movie was set up for failure, and even if it wasn't, the controversy surrounding it made people want to watch it even less. So why, Disney? What was the decision behind that? I almost wonder if they did that on purpose to prove to people that it wouldn't work, and therefore making Black Widow have to go into theaters. But now we just got some news that top investors at Disney are urging them to put Black Widow on Disney Plus for streaming purchase, and Mr. Investor, I'm with you. Mulan, even though it was not very good at all in my opinion, it was available for $29.99 on Premier Access if you had a Disney Plus subscription. Now, this did result in $33.5 million domestic for Mulan's opening weekend. Now, there was no final amount really displayed to the public, but the sales ended up being around $260 million in the US alone the last time I checked it. Now, something important to mention, with a theatrical release, studios generally split about 50% of the ticket sales with the exhibitors. With traditional PVOD releases such as Trolls, studios receive an 80% cut of that revenue. So are you telling me that Black Widow couldn't do better than Mulan? The MCU in the Avengers name brand is bigger than ever. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but Endgame is the highest grossing movie of all time. And even though, yes, you can count inflation and such, it's still the highest grossing movie of all time. And you're talking about a movie that had 21 movies that came before it. So these are coming from mostly true fans and critics who have seen all the movies, or they're new fans. I mean, look at the WandaVision trailer. 54 million views in 24 hours. Who would have thought that a talking robot, and albeit a fan favorite character now, but you're telling me that Scarlet Witch would be this popular 10 years ago with Vision, and they would have their own show? Nobody knew the MCU would become this big when the first Iron Man came out. And no DC slander, but this is just for a real comparison. I mean, look at the entirety of every trailer for DC Fandom. It only combined for 150 million views after 24 hours. It just shows you how big the MCU truly is, and because of that size, the demand is through the roof right now. MCU fans are used to getting about 2 to 3 movies per year for about a decade now, and since Far From Home came out in July 2019, 0 movies. The need for new content is what everyone wants. It's what the fans want, it's what investors want, and we're not just going to make this about money, but I really do think that putting Black Widow on Disney Plus and in theaters at the same time is the best bet for the MCU within the coming year. I actually think that it would kill it. Maybe not $1 billion, but you never know. Like I said, Disney profits a lot more from movies directly on Disney Plus than they would in theaters, so I think a hybrid release could be really beneficial. And yes, you may not hit that $1 billion mark like I just said, but 30% more profit you actually might get to that 100 bill mark, or at least make more profit than any movie they had before. And it's not just about money though. Think of the millions of more people this movie can hit on Disney Plus. Think of the ads. It would become massive for every household to have the ability to watch a new Marvel movie at the tip of their fingers. This would even possibly pull in more subscribers and possibly bring in new fans, new younger girls who look up to Scarlet. I mean, everyone is only talking about the downside, but I really do believe this could become a big hit. The demand is there and it's only increasing. And if you get more fans, you can truly turn this Black Widow franchise into its own thing. You can come out with a trilogy. You could have Florence Pugh's character take over the role. You can even have Scarlett Johansson play past experiences from the Infinity Saga. And yes, maybe it doesn't eventually tie into the MCU, but it's still a whole Black Widow piece that Marvel can use moving forward. And why? Because the MCU is too big to fail. The whole Marvel brand is too big to fail right now. They have truly created the modern day Star Wars, but in my opinion, an even better version that is so expansive as long as comic books exist. The comic book genre is only getting bigger, and with DC looking to make a push within their own universe and with the multiverse, expect more fans than ever soon, and you're gonna have more fans on both sides. If you want to do a week or 2 week exclusive in theaters, sure, go ahead, but give the people what they want. Let's kick off Phase 4 soon and let's have no more delays. Delays are only hurting theater businesses right now. I mean, AMC is selling shares, 2 other companies went out of business. Those who want to go out to one, well, there's no movies to see. So I think this could be a great decision, but let me know what you guys think and drop a comment with your thoughts below. As always, you can find me on Twitter at AnotherMarvelG to keep up to date with all my new content and announcements. All links to my socials are below, including where you can find the podcast. And to help out with the channel, if you did like the video, give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on so you don't miss any new videos, and stick around after the outro to check out all of my previous videos. I know I went a little silent with the videos in the past month, but the weekly videos are returning, so come stop by if you want to see more theory videos, Spider-Man coverage, everything. Other than that, I just want to say thank you. I'm another Marvel guy, and I'll catch y'all on a blip.